Hello and welcome to the Slovak Snapshots podcast, created by Aktuality.sk. My name is Zorislav Poljak and I'm bringing you the most captivating and important stories from across Slovakia. Each week we'll dive into the headlines that matter, from breaking news to heartwarming stories. So, whether you're local or a global listener interested in Slovakia, we got you covered. It is June 22 and you are listening to the Slovak Snapshots podcast. Peter Pellegrini became president of Slovakia. Last weekend, Peter Pellegrini became Slovakia's sixth president, replacing Zuzana Čaputová. Today we'll look at who Pellegrini is and what he had to go through in his career to reach the highest peak, the presidential palace.
Dovoľte mi zo srdca sa vám poďakovať za vašu účasť na tomto významnom okamihu, ktorým je inaugurácia najvyššieho ústavného predstaviteľa Slovenskej republiky.
When Peter Pellegrini became Prime Minister in 2018, the joke about his versatility spread through society. Indeed, looking into his past, there were only a few political posts he had not held. Parliamentary Assistant, Member of the Parliament, Secretary of State in the Ministry of Finance, Minister of Education, Speaker of Parliament, Digital Leader, and Deputy Prime Minister for Informatization. It was added with a smile that he was only missing the president to his collection. Finally, he added the highest constitutional office to the collection. Peter Pellegrini was born on 6th of October in 1975 in Banská Bystrica. He graduated from the Faculty of Economics of Matej Bell University in Banská Bystrica, majoring in finance, banking and investment, and from the Faculty of Economics of the Technical University in Košice. Pellegrini entered politics in 2002 as an assistant to a Smer member of the parliament, Ľubomír Vážny. In 2006, he was elected by the voters and became member of the parliament. However, it was not until 2014 that Pellegrini made it to a big league. In the summer, he briefly replaced Minister of Education Dušan Čaplovič, but in the autumn, he replaced the discredited Pavol Paška as Speaker of Parliament. After the 2016 elections, Smer party made Pellegrini Deputy Prime Minister for Investment and Informatization. The office was not one of the exposed functions such as Ministry of Interior, Finance or Defense, but billions of euros flowed through it. The key event in Pellegrini's political career, however, was the murder of Jan Kuciak and Martina Kušnírová in February 2018. It was the murder that sparked a political crisis, at the end of which both then Prime Minister Robert Fico and Interior Minister Robert Kaliňák had to resign. Fico was replaced as Prime Minister by Peter Pellegrini. During his mandate, there was social pressure to investigate corruption, which led to the prosecution of a number of people, including judges like Monika Jankovská. Alongside this, the Prime Minister had to explain where he got the money for over 400,000 euros apartment he bought in the center of Bratislava. It was built by an investor whom Pellegrini, as a deputy prime minister, tried to help obtain the status of significant investment for another project. In 2020, Igor Matovič won the elections and Smer ended up in the opposition. The governments of Igor Matovič and later Eduard Heger continued in what voters demanded. And the police began to look into the crimes of the Smer government, which led to the highest positions in the state. The unraveling of corruption from the days of the Smer governments eluded Pellegrini for many months. But in 2021, the shadow of suspicion fell on him too. Former tax chief František Imrece and businessman Michal Suchoba testified that Pellegrini should have taken a bribe of 150,000 euros for political support of the virtual treasury project. Pellegrini was at the time working in the Ministry of Finance. However, in Pellegrini's case, the police did not move anywhere, at least according to the information known so far. Pellegrini has not even been charged, so Imre's and Suchova's statement have remained just talks. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Pellegrini never joined Smer party or the Republic and SNS parties, and did not protest against vaccination or compliance with the measures. But he never got vaccinated himself, and it took many weeks before he urged his supporters to do so. Pellegrini tried to take over the leadership of the Smer party from Robert Fico, but failed. Pellegrini subsequently founded the Hlas party, which won almost 15% of the vote in the 2023 parliamentary elections and came third. In January 2024, Pellegrini announced his candidacy for the presidency. His main rival was Ivan Korčok, who won the first round of the election. In the second round, however, Pellegrini managed to mobilize voters and won 1.4 million votes, becoming the sixth president of Slovakia. Pellegrini's personal life is also attracting attention. He lives alone with his dog, Gary. In an interview with the medium Plus7 dní in 2020, he dismissed speculation about his sexual orientation. This interview caused controversy when parts of it relating to this topic were deleted, which led to the departure both editor and interviewer. During Pellegrini's candidacy, he often mentioned God, but in 2019 he said this about his faith: "I am not a practicing Catholic, I was only baptized, but I respect the customs and the believers." There was no pandemic in Slovakia.
Ešte by som chcel upozorniť verejnosť a upokojiť verejnosť, že pokiaľ sa preukáže v priebehu 3 mesiacov, že pandémia nebola manažovaná správne,
The government commissioner for the investigation of the management of the pandemic and Slovak National Party's member of the parliament, Peter Kotlár, told an extraordinary health committee this week that there was no pandemic in Slovakia. The committee addressed the fact that Kotlár had recently rejected global health practices on behalf of Slovakia. Slovakia was the only member state of the World Health Organization to do so. In the conclusion of my investigation, which I will present in September, there is a clear evidence that there was no pandemic in Slovakia in terms of what pandemic means, in terms of incidence and other measurable parameters, Kotlár told the committee. The opposition Christian Democratic Movement will initiate a motion for the government to dismiss Kotlár from the position of Commissioner for the investigation into the management of the pandemic. This was announced by members of the parliament, Petr Stachura and František Majerský. Health Minister Dolinková is clearly unable to explain the failure to adopt the WHO health regulations and to prevent such an international disgrace and threat to the life and health of patients from occurring in the future. Mr. Kotlár also said that in his opinion there was no pandemic in Slovakia. I would therefore like to ask him, how can he look into the eyes of the families of thousands who died during pandemic, also as a result of the actions of people like Mr. Kotlár, who questioned the pandemic, says Stachura. The Christian Democratic Movement, together with other opposition parties, initiated an extraordinary health committee at which they asked Minister Dolinková to provide committee members with the legal, financial, personnel, material and other relevant implications of Slovakia's negative position on the WHO health regulation changes. Slovakia's representative on the WHO governing board, Jozef Šuvada, respects the fact that Slovakia has decided to disassociate itself from the adoption. He stated this after the parliamentary committee meeting. The recommendation that I have made is that we should in no way withdraw from this process, but that we remain a member country that will support the international health regulations for various reasons. he noted. He also welcomes the fact that Slovak Republic has dissociated itself since the adoption and has not moved the rejection, which he said was imminent. I'm very happy that we have not undermined the global trust of countries and therefore the efforts to adopt this document without any disturbing and negative elements, he said. Šuvada respects Slovakia's position on the updated regulations. I respect that we are being led by an executive that we have elected, and I have not gone against the decision that I have been given, he added. On the other hand, Šuvada made an interview with the medium Deník N. When expressing my distance from the new WHO procedures, I was so ashamed that I put on dark glasses. I needed to make it clear that what I communicate verbally is not following how I think about it in the role of an expert, and that I literally look at what I communicate through black lenses, he said in the interview. Scientists from the Science Helps COVID-19 initiative also objected to Commissioner Kotlár's words that there was no pandemic and made an open appeal to the government to respect scientific knowledge in the field of public health. Belgium was beaten by Slovakia at the beginning of Euro 24. Slovak footballers made a fantastic start to Euro 2024 when they defeated Belgium 1-0 in the opening match. Ivan Šranc sent Slovakia into the lead in the 7th minute, and although Romelu Lukaku scored twice in Martin Dubravka's net, he did not celebrate for long in either case. Not a single goal was admitted. So, Francesco Calzona's men claimed the first 3 points. While Belgium's first goal was disallowed for a close offside, the second was disallowed for a handball. The guys did their best, they put themselves into it, and we beat a big opponent. I told the guys that we have to have the mentality that we can compete with the best. It's a huge win, but we have to keep working. We are looking at the next games. We have to score points in them as well, so that we meet the goal and advance, says the coach of the Slovak national team, Francesco Calzona. The Slovak midfielder and the best player of the match, Stanislav Lobotka, highlighted the work of the coach and the entire team. It is something unshakable. This is why we struggle. Maybe we go against most people who do not believe in the coach and his style that we want to play. To make sure that we are going the right way, we also added individual quality. Then something as beautiful as this can be created. The next match is scheduled for Friday against Ukraine. Due to the deadline of our podcast, which is on Friday afternoon, we did not have time to inform you about the results. Nevertheless, we keep our fingers crossed for our boys.
Never boring Slovakia.
Did you know that one of the most famous architects in Shanghai was a Slovak? Ladisl Hud, originally from Slovakia, is known for his architectural contributions in Shanghai at the beginning of 20th century. Among his most famous works is the Park Hotel, which was the tallest building in Asia from its completion in 1934 until 1963. Ladisl Hud's influence is still evident in the Shanghai skyline today, and he is celebrated in China as a pioneering figure in modern architecture. And there you have it, another The Slovak Snapshots podcast in the books. We hope you enjoyed this weekly adventure through the newscape of Slovakia. Remember, knowledge is power, so go ahead and impress your friends at the next gathering with your newfound facts. But hey, don't take yourself too seriously. Life's too short not to enjoy a good laugh. We'll be back next week with more stories that will keep you informed and entertained. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep sharing those lovely smiles.